In the ever-unfolding drama surrounding Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, yet another emotionally charged chapter has surfaced, this time involving Depp's daughter, Lily Rose Depp, the young actress and model known for maintaining a dignified silence throughout the tumultuous legal battles between her father and Amber Heard, has now reportedly broken her silence in the most direct and heartfelt way possible, through a brutally honest letter. According to close sources and leaked information that has since gone viral, Lily Rose has formally cut ties with Amber Heard, penning a letter that lays bare her unfiltered thoughts, deep emotional wounds, and the toll the years of public and private chaos have taken on her and her family. This development has added an entirely new dimension to the Depp-Heard saga, highlighting the profound impact their strained relationship had on Depp's children, particularly Lily Rose, who had been forced to navigate the turbulent waters of parental conflict in the glare of international scrutiny. For years, Lily Rose remained largely in the background, avoiding any overt commentary on the legal feud or the allegations that plagued both sides. However, as court testimonies, witness statements, and countless media headlines painted a picture of toxicity and trauma, it became increasingly evident that the ripple effects extended far beyond the two central figures. In the letter, Lily Rose allegedly recounts her personal experiences with Amber Heard, reflecting on moments that now strike her as insincere, manipulative, or emotionally unsettling. The tone, according to insiders who claimed to have read the document or heard it quoted, oscillates between heartbreak and anger, but never loses its clarity. She expresses a sense of betrayal, not just in the sense of family disruption, but in how she believes Amber manipulated public opinion, influenced private dynamics within the Depp household, and projected an image that didn't match Lily Rose's lived reality. It is clear from the language used that this wasn't just an emotional outburst, but a carefully considered release of long-held feelings. One of the more explosive claims within the letter is Lily Rose's assertion that she never felt safe or entirely comfortable around Heard. Although she doesn't go into specific physical allegations, she reportedly describes an atmosphere that was tense, unpredictable, and often filled with passive-aggressive behavior. She recalls occasions when her father seemed like a shell of himself, retreating emotionally and physically under the pressure of his relationship with Heard. This mental toll, Lily Rose argues, was not only visible to those in close proximity, but became a defining trait of their domestic life during that period. She writes about feeling voiceless, like an outsider in her own home, and accuses Heard of creating emotional wedges between Depp and his children. More than anything, what comes through in the letter is Lily Rose's fierce loyalty to her father. She emphasizes how difficult it was to watch him be vilified in the public eye, particularly when she felt that the media narrative was missing crucial context. She references the way headlines dismissed or minimized the mental and emotional abuse Depp claimed to suffer, while highlighting and often amplifying Heard's side of the story. In this brutal letter, Lily Rose writes that her father is not perfect, but he is loving, generous, and deeply devoted to his children, something she never witnessed being fully appreciated by Amber. She also suggests that Amber attempted to undermine their father-daughter relationship, portraying herself as the victim while pushing Depp into isolation from those who knew him best. The emotional core of the letter reportedly comes in a section where Lily Rose confronts her own silence. She explains that she stayed quiet not out of indifference, but out of fear. Fear of media backlash, fear of public misinterpretation, and, perhaps most powerfully, fear of being used as a pawn in a war between adults. But now, with the legal battles largely behind them and the public's opinion slowly shifting in favor of Depp, Lily Rose has found the courage to speak. Her letter is not just a personal reckoning, it is also a cathartic release, a means of reclaiming her narrative and establishing boundaries for her emotional well-being. Lily Rose's decision to go public, or at least to allow her letter to be shared beyond her inner circle, seems to have been driven in part by the long-term psychological toll of the past few years. She discusses moments of depression, self-doubt, and identity crises, all of which she attributes to growing up in a household overshadowed by dysfunction. While she never accuses Amber Heard of physical harm toward her, she does imply a pattern of emotional manipulation that left scars on her self-esteem and her relationship with her father. She expresses bitterness at being painted as ungrateful or aloof in the press, particularly during times when she chose not to support Heard publicly. Lily Rose clarifies that her silence was not tacit approval, but a conscious decision to protect herself from an increasingly volatile situation. In one especially poignant portion of the letter, she reflects on a birthday she spent in tears, feeling disconnected from both her parents, wondering if the life of privilege she led was worth the cost of emotional authenticity. She writes that for all the red carpets and magazine covers, what she truly yearned for was peace, stability, and a family that wasn't always one argument away from imploding. Perhaps the most talked about segment of the letter is when Lily Rose calls out Amber Heard directly, accusing her of weaponizing feminism and victimhood for personal gain. She writes that watching Amber at press conferences or hearing her speak about abuse was like witnessing a distorted version of reality, one that she couldn't reconcile with the woman she knew in private. Lily Rose does not deny that conflicts occurred, but she challenges the narrative that her father was the sole aggressor or the root of all dysfunction. She suggests that Amber was, at best, a deeply troubled partner, and at worst, someone who actively sabotaged the emotional health of those around her. These are explosive claims, and whether or not they will be legally or publicly challenged remains to be seen. Nevertheless, the letter has struck a chord, particularly among Depp supporters, who view Lily Rose's words as validation of long-standing suspicions. Social media has erupted with reactions, with hashtags trending in support of Lily Rose and condemning Amber Heard, further polarizing an already divided public. As expected, representatives for Amber Heard have declined to comment directly on the letter, instead issuing a brief statement that reiterates her stance on the past allegations and insists that she wishes to move forward with her life. Meanwhile, sources close to Johnny Depp have confirmed the authenticity of the letter and praised Lily Rose for her courage and candor. Depp himself is said to be deeply moved by his daughter's words, describing her letter as both heartbreaking and healing. Friends of the actor say that he has always tried to shield his children from the worst of his personal battles, but that Lily Rose's decision to speak out has brought them even closer. In recent public appearances, the father-daughter duo have appeared more united than ever, often seen smiling, laughing, and supporting each other's projects. It seems that for all the pain the past has caused, a new chapter of healing has begun, one rooted not in silence or avoidance, but in truth. There is also a deeper cultural conversation emerging around Lily Rose's letter. Many are beginning to reevaluate the cost of public trials and media spectacles on the children involved. The Depp-Heard case, with all its lurid details and global attention, has often been treated like entertainment. Yet behind the courtroom drama and celebrity gossip, there are real human beings, children especially, grappling with the aftermath. Lily Rose's letter has sparked discussions among psychologists, media experts, and fans about the ethical boundaries of public discourse. Should children of celebrities be expected to carry the burden of their parents' mistakes? At what point does public interest become public intrusion? These are not questions with easy answers, but they are questions that Lily Rose's voice has forced to the forefront. In choosing to speak, she has not only shared her personal pain, but also elevated the conversation about trauma, silence, and the long-term cost of emotional suppression. In closing, the brutal letter from Lily Rose Depp marks a defining moment in the ongoing legacy of the Depp-Heard relationship. It is more than a daughter standing up for her father. It is a young woman reclaiming her voice, her identity, and her story. What has unfolded through her letter is not just a deeply personal declaration of boundaries, but also a symbol of generational reckoning with trauma and the consequences of public scrutiny. Lily Rose, born into fame and raised under the shadow of intense media attention, has always occupied a precarious position between privacy and public curiosity. Her silence during the legal battles between her father and Amber Heard had previously been interpreted in multiple ways. Some saw it as indifference, others as fear, and a few speculated it was a quiet form of protest. But now, with the unveiling of this emotionally raw and unflinching letter, all prior assumptions are shattered. It is clear that her silence was not apathy, it was protection. It was the shield of a child unwilling to be consumed by the wildfire her family had become in the public imagination. The courage it takes for a daughter to address such painful subjects, especially when her every word is likely to be dissected, by the media cannot be overstated. Lily Rose has lived through years of watching her father be reduced to caricatures in tabloids, framed alternately as a villain or a fallen icon. And through all of that, she was forced to navigate adolescence and early adulthood in the public eye while enduring whispers, rumors, and the constant psychological weight of her family's turmoil. Her letter reflects years of pent-up emotion, a storm of confusion, heartbreak, frustration, and ultimately clarity. In it, she doesn't seek vengeance or pity, she seeks peace. She wants to tell her story on her own terms, unfiltered by Hollywood's obsession with narratives of good versus evil. The symbolism behind Lily Rose choosing the written word as her medium is also worth noting. A letter is intimate, it is deliberate, it is not shouted across social media platforms or sensationalized on a television interview. It is personal, reflective, and lasting. Through this format, she invites readers not to react, but to understand. She offers a window into the emotional complexities of growing up in a household where love, conflict, and dysfunction coexisted in tangled layers. She explores what it means to be a daughter in a fractured family, constantly watching the people you love be turned into headlines. Her description of how the rift between her father and Amber slowly fractured their family is particularly poignant. She writes about watching her father withdraw, about the changes in his personality that became more pronounced as the tension at home increased. She describes Amber not only as a contentious partner, but as a disruptive force, someone whose presence fundamentally altered the balance within the Depp household. The implication is clear. Amber wasn't merely a bad match for Johnny Depp. She was, in Lily Rose's view, a toxic presence that alienated him from his loved ones. What adds an additional layer of gravity to her account is her self-awareness. Lily Rose acknowledges the privilege she holds as the daughter of two celebrities, but she also lays bare the psychological cost that comes with it. She describes her youth as one filled with unspoken tensions and a constant sense of instability. Her reflections are heartbreaking in their honesty. She recalls missing her father's warm laughter, the simple moments of father-daughter bonding that became increasingly rare as the relationship between Depp and Heard deteriorated. These personal recollections serve not only as a rebuke of Heard's portrayal of events, but also as a reminder that the fallout of adult decisions often lands hardest on the youngest and most vulnerable. What also emerges from her letter is the theme of manipulation, not in the cinematic sense of overt deception, but in the quieter, more insidious forms of emotional control. Lily Rose suggests that Amber's demeanor toward her shifted depending on the public climate or private arguments. She describes a duality in Amber's character, one that could be charming in public and cold in private. These moments, when viewed in retrospect, have taken on new meaning for Lily Rose. She writes of feeling used, as though Amber's friendliness was performative, a facade designed to maintain a public image rather than build a genuine bond. The ache in her words is palpable, especially when she recalls moments of trying to speak up only to be met with dismissiveness or subtle gaslighting. The emotional manipulation, she suggests, wasn't always loud or violent, but it was constant, draining, and psychologically damaging. Yet for all the pain she describes, there is also an undercurrent of hope in her words. Lily Rose speaks about healing, not just for herself and her father, but for anyone who has felt trapped in a family dynamic they didn't choose. She emphasizes the importance of boundaries, of speaking one's truth even when the world might not be ready to hear it. She writes not as a victim, but as a survivor who has found the strength to define her own narrative. Her letter, then, is not only an indictment, it is also a declaration of independence. She is no longer the silent daughter of a scandal-plagued celebrity couple. She is her own person, with a voice that demands to be heard, not out of vengeance, but out of necessity. There is a particularly moving segment in which she discusses how the public perception of her father diverged so sharply from the man she knew. She recalls bedtime stories, gentle encouragements, shared jokes, and his deep artistic passion, traits that rarely made it into the headlines during the height of the legal battles. These memories serve as her counter-narrative to the demonization Depp faced during the peak of Amber Heard's allegations. She does not deny that her father has flaws, she acknowledges them, but she also asserts that the man the world saw was a far cry from the father she knew. This juxtaposition highlights the cruelty of public judgment and the ease with which reputations are dismantled in the court of public opinion. Furthermore, Lily Rose's letter contributes to a broader cultural moment in which the children of public figures are beginning to assert themselves. In the age of social media, where everyone has a platform, the offspring of celebrities are no longer willing to be silent observers of their families unraveling. They want to be heard, respected, and understood not as extensions of their parents, but as individuals in their own right. Lily Rose embodies this shift. Her words do not ask for sympathy, but rather recognition of the pain she endured, the growth she achieved, and the clarity she has found. She does not demand the world take sides. Instead, she asks for nuance, for empathy, and for the space to tell her truth without it being reduced to tabloid fodder. Whether or not Amber Heard chooses to respond remains to be seen. However, it may no longer matter. The power of Lily Rose's letter lies not in the reaction it provokes, but in the courage it represents. It is an act of emotional defiance against years of silencing, an expression of resilience forged in the fires of public chaos. And in choosing to speak, Lily Rose Depp has not only reshaped public perception, but redefined what it means to survive and speak out in the shadows of Hollywood chaos. Her voice now joins a growing chorus of those demanding that emotional truth be recognized alongside legal fact, that the scars left behind in high-profile conflicts are acknowledged even when they are invisible to the public eye. Her letter is not just an end to silence. It is a beginning for her family, and perhaps for a new kind of accountability in the way we view and judge the people behind the fame.